Yep.
What is my purpose?
Yep.
So we find that this, funny enough, in work as well, we find this kind of unhappiness. I'm not happy at work. Why? I don't exercise authentic self. And
Mhm.
what is authentic self then? I mean, how do you even start building these values around? How do I start building? This is a long journey. This is something then you have to have a right questions. This is where you have to dig deeper. So where do you start these conversations?
In many respects, as I said to you, before in some of the other videos, I want people to understand that you could take the principles of what I said right now and you can pursue, pretty much anything that's within the realm of possibility and achieve it on the basis of what I've said. However, to discuss the real meaningful things, those are the things that require genuine introspection and a genuine willingness to assess, do I actually know myself? On the mind map, I say the area of self-concept immediately underneath that, it says significantly inaccurate. Most people don't genuinely know themselves. They don't. So to your point, how do we try and grow that? How do we try and develop that? That is an entirely separate consideration that we have to do. And having now started the school, the Perspective for Life school, that, we have the Mind Map Monday conversations, that hour where we can sit and talk. This is the platform. That's the area where I have opportunity again to share, not tell. My intention is not to tell people what they should again do or what they have to know. It's to share, right? Here are the things that I know work. I know work because they are super clear and logical. I know they work from personal experience. I know they work from thousands and thousands and thousands of case studies. And that I'm putting out there, I'm sharing. So the question again, how do I forge the kinds of things that will become those solid things that I can anchor my day-to-day behavior and thinking on? Those are things that require deep thought and openness and consideration. So for me, even when you look at the school, sort of when you join that, I make a tremendous point of trying to say everybody has their own perspective, everybody has their own opinion, and everybody is welcome to that because that's how life works. That doesn't mean that everybody's opinion is equally valid, right? What that means is we could be wrong in our estimation of things. When I mention design, and you'll hear me say, we are like this by design, immediately somebody who's listening will say, oh, that implies that he thinks something about where we as human beings come from. And if there's design, there must be purpose. So I know where I'm going to tap in to that understanding and seek that kind of information. And again, I'm open about that, right? For me, that comes from an understanding of what I believe the Bible teaches. Now, that doesn't mean for 1 second that people cannot use their own minds and brains on convictions that are different to mine to benefit them in their pursuit of trying to live well, trying to live meaningfully, trying to live creatively, trying to enjoy the satisfactions of completing tasks and making other people, helping other people. Those things apply because, in many respects, again, I believe that that is what we call common grace. So oftentimes, because of the platform that we're addressing things, I'm wanting people to understand the principle more than the detail. So my encouragement would be, how do you get to know yourself? And the simple fact might be simply a matter of, I will sit with somebody, say, for example, in the week, and they've said to me, I just have no purpose. And my question to them in that situation is, and these are young people often, is, can you see? Yes. Can you hear? Yes. Can you smell and taste, and do your hands and feet work? Yes. So you're good for something, whether that's carrying something, whether that's drawing something, whether that's tasting something. What you have, when you take stock of what you have, you immediately have insight into what you can do. And immediately, if you have insight into what you can do, in other words, your functional capacity or your functional tendencies, you can have an idea of where might that be useful. And if I find that I have these simple things and that I enjoy this kind of thing, be clear on what you enjoy, be clear on what you like, be clear on the people around you and what they like, because the probabilities, if you have the faculties as I just described, you can be of service. You can help somebody. You can give something to somebody. So when we look at these kinds of things, you don't even necessarily need to have, and again, I say by design, insight into all the bigger things of life and eternity and origins and all the things which I love to explore. You can still, with what we have, find meaningful enough reason within what you are as a person, what you have in terms of relationship and responsibility. Whether that's I'm employed to make tea and make good tea and deliver it on time. Those might sound like a silly example, but there is such satisfaction to be had in being consistent with who I am and with what I can do. And inevitably, when you do that well, opportunities open to develop skills, to do more things. And that's where this whole idea of it is a journey. It does take time, but we are of the opinion that we need to have everything now and we need to have it instantly and fully. It's a lie. It's an utter lie. And that's why we have impatient people with no clarity of who they are, of what they can do, of what value they can add. And when they find themselves in that state of feeling, I have no value, then the question is, why am I even here? The number of young people who, in that state, their minds and their thinking drifts to, there's no point for me being here. And the logical consequence for them is, let me take myself out of here. That kind of thing is so sad, but it's largely the product of not having clarity in terms of who you are and what value you have and what you can do, because somehow it's not at the level that society has indicated you have to achieve in terms of, again, success, whether it be financial or whether it be how beautiful your spouse or whoever your partner is, or how well you dress or any of those kinds of things. The standard, the bar has been set so unrealistically high for most people. And the audience and the judges are our entire world. And we are not able to achieve that. We have a sense of insignificance. We have a sense of, insecurity. We have a sense of no significant value. And again, in that state, we shift from a pursuit of maximal satisfaction into a preservation of resources. So we withdraw, we become depressed, all the while having to try and portray an image of being wonderfully successful. And meanwhile, we're basically collapsing inside. We're anxious to begin with, then we're depressed, then we are literally pressed to the point of, again, what is that I'm here for? What is that purpose? And if there aren't clear answers, right, the natural tendencies, the pursuit and preservation of maximal satisfaction will keep pushing unrelentlessly and usually drive us to very, very poor decisions. So again, I end up going way off from what I had, initially expected. But the point is, I think as I do that, it maybe highlights why I'm now starting to have these conversations, right? Is because there is a lot at stake. There is so much at stake. And it's so much more than just becoming successful in worldly terms. It really is so much more than that. So if I could lighten the load, the trick, you have to find reason and hopefully multiplicity of reasons in the moment to do the things that are right, to do the things that are good, to do the things that are helpful, as opposed to the things that are inconsistent with that and inevitably bring about the disappointment that we're trying so desperately to avoid.